All right, y'all. Daniel Lynch here. Lynch's Lawn and Fence. Hey, so we're gonna talk today about something that's kind of really kind of important to me on here. Of course, as you can see, I'm out here in my shop, where I work out at home. Just want to change it up a little bit. Usually we're in the war room doing this, but I was like, hey, you know what? Today, let's do this in the shop. That way, I'm actually at the shop at my house, to where I can kind of show you, hey, I'm not just one of those guys that gets on YouTube, Twitter, or X, or Facebook, or one of those that's just, I'm going to throw a bunch of information at you and tell you about stuff, and I'm not really working on myself. No, daily I work on myself. I work on myself by training. I work on myself by training here, getting stronger, eating healthier, just a lot of stuff. So just kind of show you that I'm not just one of those guys that I'm just throwing information out here. I do a lot of study, a lot of researching on this stuff just to make sure that what I'm giving you is the right information. Now, I'm not always going to say that the application that I give you is best for where you live at, because you might be somewhere else. We're in Louisiana, so it works best. The application that I see that works best here in the southern states is where I, that's where the research I'm getting. So don't get it confused. Like if I tell you, hey, a fence post that needs to be set in concrete, and then you live in Alaska, well, there might be something else that works better up there. I'm not familiar with Alaska and the freezing temperatures. I think a lot of times they like to use foam up there, things like that. So up and around Michigan, things of that nature. So just like I said, this is the things that I have found that actually work here. We're Lynch's Lawn and Fence, the #1 fence company in the world. There's nobody better than us. There's nobody that trains harder than us. There's nobody that's going to put out as much information as we do. There's nobody that's going to work harder than we do as far as our guys and give you the best product. 100%. I mean, we're going to give you the best customer service there is. We're going to treat you and your family like nobody's. It's going to be A1, just perfect service. So, hey, y'all check us out, Lynch's Lawn and Fence, LLC.com. Find us on Facebook. Find us on X. Of course, we'll be on YouTube. We're on the internet. Check us out. #1 in the country. Nobody does it like we do. Hey, so today, I want to kind of talk about, in this video, I want to kind of talk about, can I put a fence up next to my neighbors? So what we're talking about here is your neighbor's already got a fence. Maybe you're looking at the back side of the fence, and you're like, hey, I just don't like the way that fence looks. Or it could be, hey, my neighbor has a fence up. I need a barrier to put up between those two fences, or that fence, to where my dog don't get through, or the neighbor's dog don't get through. So you're just looking at quite a few things, and I'm going to kind of give you a couple of things that I've seen with the 20 plus years of the fence experience that I have, that I know that works and does not work. Like I said, this doesn't mean that it don't work here, it don't work there. It just, from the experiences that I've seen, that I can actually share with everybody else and say, hey, this is what I've seen. I've done this. People didn't like it. They did like it. Don't mean it's gospel. It's just trying to help you make an educated decision. So I personally said, yes, you can put a fence up next to your neighbor's fence. Now, some HOAs allow it. Some don't. Depends on where you live at. I've run across several HOAs that are like, hey, there's one fence there. There's one fence there. We're not putting multiple fences up. Kind of, I don't know. I'm not going to say drives the property value or price of the property value down, but it just kind of looks tacky, if you know what I mean. So you have to kind of consider that as well, because, I mean, two barriers there. There's a lot of things that go in, so the pro that I see, one of the things is, if you're looking at a privacy fence, excuse me, and your neighbor, they got the pretty side and you got the poles on your side. Obviously, sometimes neighbors say, hey, I don't want you to attach a fence to mine. And so you're like, I want to put something up. Yes, you can put a fence up there behind theirs, depending on what your local HOA says, what your local MPC says, getting permits and things of that nature. Yes, it can be done. A lot of things there's a lot of variables there. Number one, you have to figure out if something goes in between those fences, how are you going to get it out? Remember that, especially if it's on a privacy fence. Chain link, not so bad. You can get, you can work it out, untie the fence. Of course, you can pull the boards off. It's just a lot of stuff you got to think about. Maintenance in between them fences. That's a big deal. Got to keep it sprayed. I've noticed there's one that we've done before where it was a lot of trash close to a convenience store, and they wanted a fence put up in front of another one so they didn't have to look at the ugly side of the fence. A lot of trash spilled down inside of there. So you have to kind of look at it and go, is it really applicable for what I've got? You can spray down in there and keep it out. Like I said, varmints like to run through there, rats. I'm not necessarily going to say snakes, possums, armadillos, cats. I've seen cats down in there. Just kind of keeps the varmints in there and gives them a safe place to be. So rabbits, just things of that nature. So you have to pay attention to that because you can get yourself in trouble. Like I said, maintenance is a big deal too. How are you going to perform maintenance on a fence 3 or 4 years from now when you got 2 fences back to back like that? So you really got to pay attention to stuff like that. I mean, do I recommend it? Depends on the application, depends on where it's at. If it's houses and it's in neighborhoods, yes, you can do it. Will I recommend it? No, I think there's other options you can do. They have come out with tons of different things now, that you can put up to where this Z-post fence that they make, you can nail pickets on both sides. We have a certain way we do it. We would not put the fence up on both sides with posts on 8-foot centers. We actually do 6-foot centers this time. Gives it a little bit more stability there to where your fence is not going to move. So, let's see. Debris trap, can't access for maintenance. That's a big deal. The pros of having 2 fences there, you're really not supposed to, like if your neighbor puts a fence up, you're really not supposed to hang anything or lean anything up on their fence. So the pros, if you have one, is, hey, you put the fence up, you can lean whatever you want to on it. You hang whatever you want to on it. It's your fence, You don't have to, your neighbor don't say, hey, don't touch my fence. Don't put nothing on it. Hey, well, I paid for this. You have yours. I have mine. I can lean. I can hang. I can do it. I can paint whatever I want to on it. So that kind of just gives you an idea of what you can do, if you decide to do the double fence. Like I said, there's 1,000 different ways that you can say how do you want to do it. But at the end of the day, these are just some of the things. Hold on just a second here. These are just some of the things that I've kind of come up with and went over with that I figured out that works. My little selfie stick messed up on me, so we're going to go with it like this. Hey, so the next thing is one of the pros too, is if you have pets. So if you have pets, then, a lot of times you notice pets bounce on fences, they hang on fences, they climb on fences, kind of like kids, there's a lot of stuff they do. They jump on the fence. So if you have a double fence there, really, your pet can, they can tear up the fence and then you're not going to be liable or responsible for it. I've seen it so many times, go out and look at fences. And it's like, hey, my neighbor's dog is tearing up my fence. Well, if you got a double fence right there, you ain't got to worry about it. So just something else to kind of pay attention to there, especially kids, you got a double fence. I know there's a little girl that's up the road from us. She plays softball, pitches the ball into the neighbor's fence, knocks the boards off all the time. Well, if it was their fence, you knock the boards off of it, do what you want. There's a double fence there. So there are, like I said, there are pros and cons to doing this and not doing it. It's just what works best for your application. Like I said, we'll go over it again. Like I said, the pros are you get the pretty side of the fence. It's actually your fence. One of the cons is debris gets trapped in there, hard to get the grass out. Got to keep it sprayed. Trash gets down in there, especially on a 6-foot tall fence. It's just a bad place. Snakes, whatever you can get in there. So got to kind of use that, think about that, and go from there. Another con is can't access for maintenance. I explained that. If you get something happens, boards or, you have a post or anything like that, there's no access to get it. So just remember that. And then you can hang what you want to. If it's your fence, you can hang what you want to, lean what you want to, paint what you want to on the fence. You can do whatever you want to with it. It's your fence. So, and then final, like I said, if it's your fence, dogs, anything, kids, anything tears it up, hey, it's yours. You can do what you want to with it. So y'all, just kind of a few things that I would go over right there, just to kind of give you an idea, just to help you kind of make the decision, whether you want to, or things that you wouldn't normally think of that you would put, that why you should or why you should not put a fence up beside the neighbor's fence, or why you would just say, hey, I'm just going to use their fence. And, if the dog tears it up, well, guess what? I have to, I have to pay to fix it, So just some one of the things, like I said, nothing here is gospel. Not everything I say is gospel, which I do believe, and what I say is truth a lot of times, because I've seen a lot of stuff, and our company and our team has put up a lot of fences. So just kind of giving you an idea and kind of showing you what works and what don't. Hey, if you got any questions or comments, hit us up on here. Hit us up on in wherever you see this video at. Like it, comment, share it, subscribe to it. Hey, like I said, we're just out here trying to educate people, educate you, and educate ourselves to make us better at what we do. This is Lynch's Lawn and Fence. I'm Daniel Lynch, lyncheslawnandfence.com, Lynch's Lawn and Fence LLC.com. You can find us anywhere out there. We're here. We got your back for life. If you need anything from us, 318-459-7837. You can call us from 6 a.m. to 5, Monday through Friday. And if you want to talk, just call it. It'll go straight to whoever's on call. They'll give you a call back. 318-459-7837. We got you. Y'all have a good one. We'll see you on the next one.